Welcome to the Fantasy Dummies Football Podcast. My name is Kay.
And I'm Jeremy.
And we are the Fantasy Dummies.
I'm the fantasy. She's the dummy.
No, you're not. That's my line. You can't say that. You can't say that. That's my line.
We were switching roles. You didn't like that?
No, that's my line. I'm the fantasy. You're a dummy. You're the dummy.
I'm the dummy. Not a dummy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to be doing the AFC West breakdown.
Yeah. Yay.
Yay?
Yay.
Yay?
Yay. Mahomes.
That's it. We've done it. That's all you need to know. Mahomes and Kelsey, and we're done.
Taylor Swift.
Oh, God. I forgot about that.
How do you forget about Taylor Swift? Brother, what?
Brother, ew.
Brother, yay.
What?
I don't know. Yay.
I'm so over the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey thing from last season, and I just know, I'm telling you right now, if the Chiefs repeat again for a third time, he's proposing to her on the field, and he's retiring after she says yes.
I really don't think he's going to retire.
They'll announce the baby.
Shut up. There is no way. Taylor Swift is at the peak of her career. And so is Travis Kelsey, probably, yeah?
No, he's not. He's 35.
Oh my God, he's that old. I didn't know he was that old. How is he still so good? Because Mahomes is throwing him the ball?
Well, yeah. And he's really good. I mean, It's just how it is.
And he has the power of the Swifties.
Don't say that. Please. That's one thing I don't want to put into any fantasy football analysis is talking about the damn Swifties.
But he has the backing of the Swifties.
Can we just move on, please? Just read the notes, please. Notice there's no Swiftie talk in there. Okay, so
we're starting out with Mahomes, not the Swifties.
Oh, we're getting right into it. All right.
Oh, wait. Actually, let's talk about Tyreek. That just came out today. Tyreek is getting, not necessarily getting much more money. He's getting the same exact years, but he's, like you said.
You got a raise.
Yeah. He's getting more money, basically in guarantee, yeah?
Basically, I'll tell you how the conversation went down. It's Tyreek going into the office of the GM. Hey, man, I just led the league in receiving yards last year. I also have like 7 kids with multiple.
7 kids?
I don't know how many it is.
He does not have 7 kids.
Look it up.
Okay.
Look it up, and I'll keep talking while you look it up. I have like 10 kids, all with different baby mamas.
Wait, how did that go from 7 kids?
He made 3 in the time we paused. I have like 10 kids with multiple baby mamas.
Oh my God.
What's the number?
He has 10 kids.
You thought I was bullshitting.
Well, it says...
I know my shit.
What? No chance.
Yeah, he has like 10 kids.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
Are they like adopted kids?
He had 4 kids this year with 4 different women.
4 kids this year?
Yes.
No wonder he wants more money.
No shit. That's where I was going with the joke. Shit has gone off the rails. That's literally what I was going to say in the joke. I was going to say, I'm going in, I need more money for my 10 kids. That was literally the whole joke.
You're taking too long with it.
I told you to look it up. You're so dumb.
I have tears in my eyes.
You're such a dummy. So Tyreek got some more money, got a raise, all right, and so yeah, he's making more money. He might still be retiring at the end of this contract. I don't know.
He has 7 daughters and 3 sons with his wife.
Can we put this with the Swifties? I don't care. I don't.
How do you not care? That's so many kids.
I'm not gonna kid watch him. I don't give a shit about his kids. That sounds awful.
He doesn't have multiple baby. Oh, that's Phillip Rivers I'm looking at.
Yeah, he has like 15 kids, all with the same chick.
No, Philip Rivers has 10 kids. Oh my God. How do you have 10?
Okay.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, Tyreek got his contract adjusted. And with that, I mean, we're kind of recording this back to back with the AFC East, which we just did last night. So we don't really have any new news updates other than that. So I figured we could talk about my early quarterback rankings for fantasy football full PPR 2024 season. What do you think?
That sounds good. I wasn't paying attention.
Good. I know you're not. You're looking up the amount of kids he has still. So we could go through this real quick. I'm only going to go through the top 12. Okay. I figured we can make a video later on kind of going way more in depth with rankings and such. But, for the early part of this episode, I figured we could talk about this. So tell me if I'm wrong on any of this. And again, these are my rankings. So, you can always just debate me if you want. So I kind of want to put them in tiers because, and the way I see it is, so for instance, my first tier, and this might be super wild, I have Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, and Anthony Richardson.
Oh, really? Not Mahomes up top, huh?
No, my first tier is those three. And the way I kind of look at it is quarterbacks in the same tier. Would I judge someone for drafting someone within the same tier? And if I wouldn't, then they're in the same tier. So, like, for instance, Anthony Richardson is third in my first tier, but if you were to draft him first overall out of the quarterbacks, I would kind of give you like a sideways glance and kind of judge you a little bit, but also I wouldn't hate it.
Right.
I'm really high on him, and I think we talked about that in the AFC South episode. So I wouldn't draft him first overall, but what I'm saying is I wouldn't judge you off that. Now, if you were to draft Anthony Richardson, say over, or you would draft, like, let's say CJ Stroud, who's in a different tier for me, over Anthony Richardson, I would judge you. And that's why he's in a different tier. You know what I mean?
I'm reaching for a QB, and I'm going to be reaching for Jalen Hurts because he,
You can say it.
He's dead.
You're an Eagles fan.
I thought you wanted me to say he's my daddy.
Why would I want you to say that? Where is this episode gone? What are we doing here? We're recording this in the morning, by the way. It's not like it's 2 a.m. or something. Like, this is around lunchtime we're recording this. What is going on? This is like off the rails.
Off the rails. I haven't been drinking yet.
Okay. This is you sober. All right. So that's my first tier. My second tier is Patrick Mahomes as number 4. Number 5, I have Lamar Jackson. And number 6, I have Kyler Murray.
Wait.
What's up?
I just feel like I just had a thought because,
Yes.
Mahomes. I just had a thought that I kind of sound like an idiot.
Yeah. Okay.
I have.
No, you don't. No, stop.
I have won, multiple championships. And, one of them happens to have Patrick Mahomes in it. And the name of my team was Mahomes Balzackers.
Yeah.
I think that's the greatest name of all time.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of just go with whatever my team is, who is on my team. So I don't really put much thought into it.
But Mahomes is out of the reach for me in my current league because someone reaches for him in the first round.
Yeah. I don't literally think I've ever had Mahomes on my team. So it would be kind of a unique experience for sure. But let me get back to so the second tier has 3 more quarterbacks. So we're through the first 6 quarterbacks with 2 tiers, 3 each. So if you notice something about these tiers or these first 6 quarterbacks, I want you to kind of just realize it's the 5 best rushing QBs in the league and Patrick Mahomes. That's just how it is.
Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes.
I've constantly harped on the fact that rushing quarterbacks have a disgusting advantage in fantasy point scoring. And 10 rushing yards for a QB is a point.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me that my quarterback is going to rush for 50 to 80 yards a game, that's just a free 5 to 8 point floor.
And if they're in the red zone, the likelihood of them rushing for a touchdown
is high.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So these quarterbacks are basically the ones that provide the most with their feet, and Patrick Mahomes.
And Patrick Mahomes.
And Patrick Mahomes isn't a slouch when it comes to running either. He actually scrambles a lot. So he doesn't get as much as the rest of these guys, but I wouldn't even consider him a runner. But it's Patrick Mahomes, and I really do think he's going to have a really good year this upcoming season because of his new weapons, which we'll talk about here in a couple minutes.
He does look a little funny when he's running, though.
He looks like a duck.
That's a duck?
Yeah, duck. Like he waddles.
Waddles.
Yeah.
Okay. At least it doesn't look like Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray looks like a toddler that just stole your phone, and you're trying to chase him down. So, my rankings here are a little, I wouldn't say unique, but they're a little bit different than most fantasy analysts. For instance, like I have Kyler Murray at 6. I think Kyler Murray is a huge target this year. He provides a lot of passing and rushing floor. And right now he's going as kind of like QB8 range, QB9 sometimes. And I have him at 6. So Kyler Murray, I could definitely see myself drafting this year just off the rushing floor. I really want a rushing QB.
Just so you can see him run like, he stole your phone.
Yeah. So those are my first 2 tiers. The first 3 I obviously have over the second tier just because the first 3, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Anthony Richardson, have that 30-point a game upside, which is, I mean, that's just rock star status, right? So let's get into my third tier, which I call my third tier the pocket passing QBs who have a shitload of passing touchdown upside and they're on good offenses. Okay? So these are the ones that don't really provide a ton of rushing, but they're on really good offenses and I could see them passing for a lot of yards. So number 7, I have CJ Stroud. Number 8, I have Brock Purdy, which is extremely high compared to where he's going. He's going like QB 11, QB 12. So I have him much higher than consensus, and this is because he's on a very good, if not the best, offense in the league. Then I have Dak Prescott at 9, Jordan Love at 10, Joe Burrow at 11, and Jared Goff at 12. Literally all what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are 6 QBs who are all pocket passers, and they're all in good offenses. And honestly, I don't really care how you order them. I mean, it's basically based off how you personally feel. You could draft any one of them ahead of the others, and I wouldn't judge you. It's literally off personal preference. I have them ordered how I would draft them. I would start with Stroud. I would go Purdy. Dak last year finished as QB3. Jordan Love was...
You said Dak finished QB3 last year?
Yes, ma'am. Yep. Jordan Love was a top 5 QB last year. Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. Again, it just felt wrong putting him behind Jared Goff. Even though I'm really high on Jared Goff, it just felt really bad putting Joe Burrow behind Jared Goff. Which
you just don't like Joe Burrow just because of his hair.
It's because of his funky wrist that I don't like him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It just felt weird to have him behind Goff. And I still might want to put... honestly, if I was on the clock and Burrow and Goff were both there and I had to get a QB, I'd probably still go Goff. So that's how low I am on Burrow. I'm not getting Burrow this year. So
okay. I was gonna say I noticed that Tua is not in your top 12. Tua just got paid. He just got the bag.
Tua just got paid, and he also led the league in passing yards last year, and he finished QB 14. So I feel like QB 14 is literally his peak. So I'm not gonna high him. I think I have him like 15 or 16. So yeah, that's it. I mean, and just for a little idea, the 2 rookies, the number 1 and number 2 picks in this year's draft, I have it 13 and 14, so respectively. So those are my top 12. Well, I guess 14 QBs, and like I said, they're kind of in buckets, like a tiered system. And like I said, that pocket passing, elite offense tier, you could take any one of those 6 ahead of the others, and it wouldn't really matter to me. I think it's a fine pick. Like if you want maybe if you want Jared Goff over like CJ Stroud, I might kind of look at you. But again, it's really just based off preference. So that's it. Those are my QB rankings. And like I said, we can deep dive into it later on, but that's my early rankings. What do you think?
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, you have yeah, I like it.
There's certain people I'm definitely higher on than consensus. Anthony Richardson, obviously, he's like QB6, I think right now. I have him at 3. I'm a little bit lower on Lamar. Everyone has Lamar at like 3. He's at 5 for me. I'm just not really a Lamar guy. I never really have been.
It's hard to it's hard to draft Lamar and expect him to have a solid game every game.
Yeah, he's not consistent at all.
Yeah, I've had him multiple years, and it feels like he starts off really, really good. Your first 3 to 5 games of the season are so good, and then it just kind of falls off, and then he would have a game or two here and there where he does so good, so amazing, but then you have the one sometimes as the games that matter, where he just
it just seems like to me the reason why I've never really been high on Lamar, like I said, I've never had him on a team, and obviously he had that badass MVP season a few years back
last year,
last year too, but I'm talking about was it his rookie year? I guess his rookie year or his second year, whatever it was, where he broke records. It seems like everyone who has Lamar Jackson on their team just never seems to be happy with him.
Yeah, last year, excuse me, last year Lamar Jackson was the winner of the NFL MVP award.
Yeah.
And then he finished with a 90.4,
90.4 what?
PFF, whatever.
PFF rating? Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it just seems like to me everyone who ever has Lamar Jackson on their team is never happy because he'll just have weeks where he'll score like 30 points and then the next week he'll score 3 or 5, and then I need some sort of floor, man. And I'm not going to rank you as a top 3 quarterback if I'm afraid that one week you might get 5 points.
Well, what sucks about that is that I feel like it's probably more his offensive line,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was last year that he had a game where he threw the ball and it almost got intercepted, but he ended up catching his own damn ball.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you got Derrick Henry there now too. I mean, Derrick Henry you already heard how high I am on Derrick Henry. I mean, Derrick Henry has 20 touchdown upside. And if Derrick Henry is getting 20 touchdowns on the ground, that's that many touchdowns that Lamar Jackson is not getting on the ground. So it's just...
Yeah.
It's just,
well, Derrick Henry is also a pass catcher, right?
Not really.
Really?
Yeah, not really. He's more of just a bowling ball of meat.
Ball.
Yeah, it's just like I said. I've never really been a Lamar Jackson guy, so and continuing down the list, I'm obviously a little bit higher on Kyler Murray just because Kyler Murray has that rushing upside, and I think he's like really undervalued. I mean, he provides so much more upside than all the pocket passers, man. Brock Purdy I'm much higher on. If I get Brock Purdy on my team, especially if I stack him with like a Deebo Samuel or a Brandon Ayuk or a Kittle even, man, that'll feel real good.
Oh, yeah, Kittle.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Dak Prescott, I mean, Dak finished last year as the QB3. And he's going right now as QB9. And I have him at QB9. And he probably should be higher, but I wouldn't take him above these other people, Like, the thing is, it's like I told you, he's in the same tier as CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy. Like, if you went into the draft and drafted Dak Prescott with CJ Stroud and Brock Purdy still on the board, I would be like, yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine with that. It's just, to me, that they provide the same sort of stuff. They're both pocket passing, high yardage, high touchdown upside. So, with very low rushing. So, that's how I kind of look at it. And like I said, so
yeah, I wouldn't draft Dak just because that would mean I would have to root for the Cowboys.
Well, that's a personal, like I said, that's a personal preference.
Yes, very personal.
Yeah.
Very.
I'm looking through the lens of fantasy. So, yep, those are my QB rankings. So we should just go ahead and move on into the AFC West. Do you know who's in the AFC West?
Of course I know who is in the AFC West. I'm sorry. Of course I know who is in the AFC West.
Yeah. Who?
Mahomes.
Okay. Mahomes. Are we going to list all the players on every team?
Yeah, of course. It's the Chiefs,
Uh-huh.
Kansas City, and the Raiders,
Uh-huh.
Broncos, Denver Broncos,
Denver Broncos, yeah. You got one more?
and the Chargers.
Okay. You got it.
Of course.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Chiefs first.
I like the Chiefs.
You like the Chiefs? Okay.
I like the Chiefs, but I wish they would just let some other people win, like the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
Well, we'll see if that happens this year. They're going for a three-peat, so that's kind of a big deal. Their wide receivers have gotten much better. Their overall team has probably gotten much better. They lost a few people, but, I mean, the core is still in place. You got Mahomes, you got Kelsey. Their new wide receivers are Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, who, Xavier Worthy, right?
Oh, yeah, the guy that was the fastest dude on the NFL Combine this year.
Yep. So fastest. He's there. He
broke the record from UT.
He's a rookie. And we have Rashee Rice, who Rashee Rice was a rookie last year, and he kind of really sucked ass up until their bye week, and then they started incorporating him more, and he was really, really good down the stretch. Now, he was more of like a, they kind of gave him like manufactured touches around the line of scrimmage. He didn't really run downfield too much, and I don't know if that was like a Rashee Rice thing or if that was just a kind of like an offensive build type thing that the Chiefs were doing, but they weren't really giving him those like long range bombs that Mahomes is kind of known for. They gave him the easy stuff. So the other interesting thing about Rashee Rice is we don't know if he's going to be suspended. He had an incident this offseason where he was drag racing, or not drag racing, but like street racing.
Well, there's no proof that he was the one that was actually driving.
Yeah, there was.
Oh, there is?
There was a video of him getting out of the car and walking away from the scene. Ooh. That's why it's a big deal. So they haven't announced his suspension yet. The thing is, we don't even know if it might be this season. I mean, they could push this date like way out in the future, and it might not even be this year. Or it could be 8 games, 10 games this year.
Did anyone die in this?
No one died. There's a lot of, there's like 4 or 5 vehicles that were hit, and he walked away from the scene. There's a lot going on with it. That's probably why it's taking so long, is there's so much to sift through with the case. So we won't know until the start of the season, probably, if he actually is getting suspended this year.
Dude, that's so wild. You're a superstar in the NFL. Every little thing you do off the field is so important, just because if you go to jail, if you do something stupid, if you just slap a random person by accident, you can get suspended. Don't be stupid.
Yeah, don't be stupid. He was pretty stupid. And then he ended up going to a bar, I think a few days or weeks later, and he ended up getting into a altercation with some random dude, and then ended up punching that dude.
Wow.
So he's kind of on the NFL shit list right now. Now, he's going in the middle rounds of drafts, like round 6, 7-ish, somewhere in there. And it's probably just because people don't know if he's going to be suspended.
There's so much uncertainty to draft him earlier than that.
Yeah, in fact, all 3 of these receivers, Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and Hollywood Brown, are all going within like 5 picks of each other. Like no one really knows what to do with them because they're all new. Rashee Rice isn't new, but we don't know with his suspension. So I like Hollywood and I like Xavier Worthy. I will probably avoid Rashee Rice because I don't really want to have someone on my team who might get suspended halfway through the year and just be gone. So he's probably off my board unless they come out and say specifically they're not going to do anything this season. So
that's still so scary.
It's scary. They would have to give him the full blown like clear for me to kind of look his way.
Yeah.
So Xavier Worthy's really sexy, and like as a draft pick, he's fast, he's new. There's so many training camp videos already of him catching long 50-yard bombs from Mahomes, and you're just like, man, like imagine that on my team.
Yeah, well, imagine him being chased by the number 1 safety corner.
Yeah. The thing is with that, though, the thing that kind of worries me about Worthy is Andy Reid is very notorious for not really getting the most out of his rookies until at least the bye week. That's also what happened to Rashee Rice last year, is Rashee Rice wasn't even included in the game plan until after their bye week, which was like week 8 or week 9. So the thing is with Worthy is he's a 5th round pick, and if Andy Reid does his Andy Reid thing, he might not even be startable until after until after their bye week.
Is that even a word?
Yes. So my feeling is Hollywood Brown feels like a safer pick, at least earlier in the season.
Hollywood Brown, by the way, is Marquise Brown.
His name is Hollywood. He changed it.
He changed it officially.
Yeah. Like, if you go and do a draft right now, like a mock draft, his name is Hollywood.
That's so crazy.
Yes.
When did he do that?
It's just like Tank Dell. Tank Dell changed his name to Tank. It wasn't officially Tank, but he changed it this offseason.
That's crazy.
His name was Nathaniel Dell. And
I didn't even know that he had a name. I thought it was just Tank. I thought his name was Tank.
No, his name is Nathaniel Dell, or it was. He changed it to Tank.
Oh, interesting.
So you got Tank in Hollywood, who had changed their name. So
here I am thinking I'm all smart and shit. Thinking, hey, his name, by the way, guys.
Actually,
it's not Marquise. It's actually Marquise Brown. Oh, wait,
yeah,
I'm so wrong. Okay, sorry.
Hollywood. The thing about Hollywood is, I feel like he has a bunch of skill. Like, he's fast and has good hands. He just gets hurt all the time. So, I mean,
yeah, I had him when he was with the Ravens, and
I think I would rather just draft Worthy, but just not expect him to really, like, I wouldn't draft him expecting him to be a full-time starter week 1.
Right. I mean, he's a rookie unless he's just so
so bomb. Yeah. So that's how I kind of feel about that. Now, their running back, Isaiah Pacheco, he massive target for me. Every fantasy analyst out there literally loves Isaiah Pacheco.
Yes.
So that dude is going to get... I mean, Andy Reid came out earlier this offseason and said that he expects Isaiah Pacheco to be a 3-down workhorse back, which there's not a much better thing you can hear from a head coach regarding a running back for fantasy football than 3-down workhorse. That's literally all you want to hear. So he's getting everything. He's going to be unarguably one of the best, if not the best, offense in the league. And he's not a first-round pick. So depending on what site you're using right now on like Underdog, he's a 3rd round, like into the 3rd round pick. On Fantasy Pros, he's a 2nd round pick. So I'm not sure what he is on like ESPN.
I would not pick him in a first round. There's too many weapons.
Well, I didn't say first round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said 2nd or 3rd. I think in the 2nd it's perfectly viable.
Yeah.
3rd is even better.
Depends on where you're picking in a 2nd round.
Sure. I mean,
I wouldn't pick him early in a 2nd round.
Why not?
I don't know, man.
Give me one reason.
Because I would rather have Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce you can get in the 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, okay.
You'd rather have Travis Kelce over Pacheco?
Actually, yeah, I don't know, man.
Because the thing with Travis Kelce is, while we're talking about him, last year was probably his worst year of his career since he was like a rookie or earlier on in his career. And the big reason why is it's not like his skill level dropped. It's because, in my opinion, he got hurt the first week. I think he hyperextended his knee, if I remember right. He was out that first week of the season last year. And then they kind of kept him in the garage. They didn't really bring him out and give him his full workload until the playoffs. And I think that's what they're going to start doing with him.
Oh, just like keep him unless they're behind.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I mean, I just think, his final line last year was 93 receptions, 984 yards, and 5 touchdowns. 5 touchdowns is extremely low for Travis Kelce. I mean, Travis Kelce is a yearly double-digit touchdown scorer. You know, that's what has made him a first-round pick in the past. I mean, that dude has elite tight end upside. People would draft him in the first round because he would lap the competition at tight end.
Yeah.
And now he's not. He didn't even have 1,000 yards last year.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So...
That's really good to know. Thank you so much for that information.
Yeah.
Because
are you still drafting him ahead of Pacheco?
Nah.
So my point is, I think what they're going to do with Travis Kelce is, like I said, I think that since he's 35, they don't want to overextend or like overuse his play because he is a little bit older. They want to save him for the playoffs when it really matters and try and get that 3-peat. So I would draft him, but again, I would draft him under the presumption that he's not going to be the normal Kelsey.
I mean, but you still have to keep Taylor Swift happy.
Sure.
And the Swifties.
Well, no, I still think he's a top 3 tight end. In fact, he might be top 2 for me. Maybe even top 1. Honestly, I'd have to think about it.
Top 1?
I haven't thought about my rankings yet at tight end. I love Sam Laporta. He's currently the tight end 1, but
I have Laporta last year.
So did I.
He was awesome.
He was awesome. But again, we're not talking about him yet. I'll talk about him
sure.
in next division or whatever. But yeah, Kelsey, I mean, if you want to draft him first, sure, but I wouldn't draft him thinking he's going to be the Uber Kelsey of years past.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. So Worthy, Hollywood Brown, Pacheco obviously is a smash, and then Kelsey. And Mahomes, honestly, he finished as QB8 last year, but with all these new weapons, I mean, last year their wide receivers were Justin Watson, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Sky Moore.
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I know Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Oh, did I say his whole name right?
You said his whole name right.
Oh, my God.
So, I mean, he had shit at wide receiver last year. His weapons are going to be a lot better. So this is kind of like the first year where I feel, I mean, I don't usually have Mahomes in my top 3 or top 4. I have him at 4 this year. And I mean, usually I have him lower than that because he's a pocket passer generally. I mean, it's Mahomes, so it's like I'm not trying to, talk shit here. But the rushing upside of the other QBs is just way better. But this year, I really do think it could be an explosion year for the Chiefs on offense.
Yeah. It's like they couldn't get any worse.
Dude. And
they could only get better.
Yeah. And if I can get Mahomes and then like one of these receivers, or I get Mahomes and Kelsey, yeah.
Yeah, good luck getting Mahomes and Kelsey together.
Well, in a normal league where Mahomes isn't taken for like in the first round, you can do that. Because we know about what league we're talking about. So, but I think we've spent enough time on the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think so.
And we can pretty much sum up every other team in this division very quickly.
Oh yeah.
This is I don't know how many people would say this, but I feel like this might be the worst division in football.
It used to be. I mean, it used to be shit. The Chargers and were pretty good. The Broncos at one point was good when.
Yeah. Okay. When they had Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Yeah. So the next team by record were the Raiders. They finished 8-9 last year.
How?
I honestly don't know. When I was looking up the records for these teams, I was like, wait, the Raiders and the Broncos got 8 wins last year?
Oh.
When did that happen?
Who did they win against? Has to have been against the Eagles.
Probably.
They choked at the end of the season last year.
So let's go to the Raiders. The Raiders signed Gardner Minshew to a 2-year contract.
Gardner mustache.
So I don't have much to say about that.
I don't know why you hate mustache so much.
He's not a good quarterback. He's like Ryan Fitzpatrick if Ryan Fitzpatrick didn't have a cool beard.
Yeah, but see, the thing was with Ryan Fitzpatrick when he was playing, when he would actually pass the ball and he would make it to a receiver.
Yeah.
They were long passes.
Yeah, Ryan Fitzpatrick was a serviceable journeyman quarterback. Okay, that's what Gardner Minshew is. Gardner Minshew actually kept Michael Pittman afloat last year in fantasy. Okay, because Gardner Minshew can throw the ball occasionally, but he's not good. Okay, so, I mean, let's just talk about the only person we really need to talk about on this team, Davante Adams. Davante Adams is going in the second round. Okay, he has Gardner mustache or AOC throwing to him.
Yeah.
That's Aiden O'Connell, by the way, not the...
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, Davante Adams and Jacoby Myers are the only 2 receivers there. And I don't really want them. I remember how I told you before I want good players on good teams if I'm drafting that high?
Yes.
I don't think this is going to be a good team. Davante Adams is really, really good.
What if they actually end up, instead of Gardner Minshew as the quarterback one. It's AOC, and AOC is the one feeding Devontae.
It doesn't matter. Also, I will say something else that I'm making a guess here. I would make a bet that Devontae Adams isn't on this team by the end of the year. I think
he just retires.
No, I think there's a more likely chance than not that Devontae Adams at some point this year gets traded to the Jets and reunites with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, that would be a twist.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen, especially if the Jets end up starting off kind of hot. Like, let's say the Jets start off like 6-2 or something.
They started off really hot last year.
No, I don't want to revisit the Jets, please. I'm just saying if they start off like 6-2 or something, or 5-2, whatever, I think they would totally be willing to trade for Devontae Adams, especially if the Raiders are kind of, a shit show, how I kind of expect them to be. So I don't even think Devontae Adams is going to finish on this team. So, I mean, he had 100 with AOC passing him the ball last year. He had 175 targets, which is absolutely bonkers. That is a giant number. 175 targets. Guess how many catches he had?
Oh my God, don't tell me it's under 50.
That would be abysmal. That wouldn't be an NFL offense. He had 103 receptions.
Ooh, it's still not a lot.
He barely hit 100 receptions on 175 targets. Okay. He finished with 8 touchdowns and 1,100 yards. That is, for 175 targets, not good. He finished as the wide receiver 14. Okay. Now, what am I completely out on him? No, because it's Devontae freaking Adams. But I'm not going to draft him in the second round. That's
too expensive.
I would draft it basically everyone in the second round right now over him.
Yeah, that is way too expensive.
Now, if he drops a little bit, maybe third round, middle of the third round, late third round, we can have a conversation. But not in the second, man. I just can't do it. He's just a fade at that price. Jacoby Myers as well. He's the second receiver on this team. I'm not going to draft, the second receiver for Gardner Minshew. I'm just not going to do it, man. I'm not going to put myself through it. Okay? I would rather have a good player I'd rather have a worse player than Jacoby Myers with a better quarterback than have Jacoby Myers, hoping to catch something within 15 feet of his head. Okay. So there are some other pieces that we need to talk about. The running back is Zamir White.
He's expected to be the number one, right?
He is the number one. So he took over last year towards the end of the year. And he averaged, in the time that he was a starter last year, which I believe was 3 or 4 games, he averaged 23 touches and 114 yards per game. So he does have some interesting upside, I'd say. He could be good, or he could be the lead running back on a dog shit team. Okay. Now, he's going as RB22. He's never had a full-time workload before. So the last time we saw something like this was last year. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember Alexander Mattison?
Yes.
He was the backup to Aaron Jones. No, not Aaron Jones. He was the backup to Dalvin Cook on the Vikings for years. And every time Dalvin Cook got hurt, Alexander Mattison would come in and do amazing. And everyone was like, dude, Alexander Mattison, if he just gets a full-time role, he'll be so good. And what happened? Last year, they were like, all right, we got rid of Dalvin Cook. Madison, you got it this year. Let's see what you got. And he shit the bed. Okay.
That's what happens. Too much pressure.
It's too much pressure, or maybe he just really just sucked, or whatever. So I could totally see a very similar case for Zamir White this year. He's been a backup running back this whole time to Josh Jacobs. Finally, Josh Jacobs is gone. Zamir White is now the full-time running back. So everyone's kind of thinking, you got the full-time role. Here's your chance.
Hey, he might surprise you and actually be really good.
He could surprise me. He could be really good. Or he could be Alexander Mattison from last year. And you know what's even funnier about all of this? Alexander Mattison is his current backup.
Oh, okay.
I brought that full circle. I don't know if you could tell what I was doing there.
Yes.
So Alexander Mattison is the backup to Zamir White. And I don't think there's a more fitting backup to have to Zamir White.
I mean, maybe they can just think of each other as the backup of the backup, and then they can play.
They can hold hands and run and be like, no, you take the ball. No, you take the ball. So
they can go skip down the field.
Now, I will say, let's talk about the tight ends real quick. And I'm going to be brief on this. They have a rookie tight end that they drafted super high this year. His name is Brock Bowers. He was a generational talent, quote unquote, out of Georgia. He was apparent, if he had gone to a different team, we'd be having a different conversation about him. The Colts and the Rams both really wanted him. If he would have landed with either one of those teams, he would probably be a top 7 tight end in fantasy. Oh. He's very good. But he landed with the Raiders. And the Raiders also drafted Michael Mayer last year, the year before Brock Bowers, who he was also a highly touted tight end.
Another tight end.
So they have 2 highly touted, highly drafted young tight ends. So you tell me, with a head coach, Antonio Pierce, who wants to run the piss out the ball. So what's probably going to happen here is, I think Zamir White's going to get fed and not be super efficient. I think the tight end, they're going to have 2 tight ends on the field constantly, and you're going to have Gardner Minshew trying to chuck it to Devontae Adams over and over and over again, and maybe some Brock Bowers sprinkled in on a team that might get 6 wins.
Maybe.
That's my prediction. So, do you really want any of these people?
Yeah, I don't recall actually having a Raiders player on my team, and
yeah. Devontae Adams was interesting last year because I'm not even bullshitting you. I knew the guy who had drafted him in one of my leagues, and he was so mad at him because Devontae Adams for multiple weeks had like 5 points. I mean, he wasn't getting fed at all. This was when like Garoppolo was starting. And then there was a week when, I don't know if Garoppolo got hurt, but Devontae Adams went out there and scored 45 points in full PPR. Okay, which was the week I was playing against him, of course, and I lost that matchup by like 3 points. So I remembered that because I was very salty about that.
Oh, I would, yeah.
It was on Monday night too. So like the dude I was playing was down by like 42 points or something, and I was like, oh, I got this. Devontae Adams ain't getting fucking 42 points. Got 45. So I lost.
You need to just make sure this year to not make those assumptions, and don't even say it out loud. Don't even think it.
You're right. I should just...
Those are the bad juju words.
That's a bad juju, yeah. So that's the Raiders. I mean, they have Gardner Minshew at quarterback, and I've always, like I said, I'm drilling this into my head every time I'm drafting. I want the good players from the good teams and then the good players from the bad teams. And Devontae Adams is a good player on a bad team, but he's going in the second round, so I'm like, ew.
Too expensive for me.
And all the other players, I don't know if they're good or not. Brock Bowers, sure, I guess. I mean, I might draft him, but there's a lot of other tight ends going around him that I would prefer. So, not really, I guess.
Just punt the position.
You don't have to punt it. There's definitely options, and we'll talk about tight end strategy maybe in a later video, or my tight end rankings.
Sure. All right. Let's move on to the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos. Who is Bo Nix?
Who's Bo Nix? So Bo Nix is a rookie quarterback that they drafted this season. They took him with I believe it was the 12th or 13th pick overall. He was the 6th quarterback off the board.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a record for quarterbacks. So he was the 6th quarterback taken in the first round this last draft. And it was actually pretty funny because Sean Payton, the head coach, said that Bo Nix, he has the impact to possibly, like he possibly has the impact to the Broncos that Patrick Mahomes does to the Chiefs.
Oh, how so?
Yeah, he said that he felt as strongly about drafting Bo Nix as he did about drafting Patrick Mahomes in 2017, and then said that, well, he was going to draft Mahomes in 2017 until the Chiefs jumped ahead of them in the draft.
Oh.
But he was so convinced he was the next big thing, Patrick Mahomes, that is.
Oh.
And this year, he was excited because Bo Nix fell to them, and he had the same feeling as he did with Patrick Mahomes.
Oh.
So that means Bo Nix is Patrick Mahomes.
In Sean Payton's mind.
Yes. So Bo Nix, couple interesting facts. He's a 5-year college player. So
5 years.
So he's old. He's an older prospect. He led the college football in accuracy last season. But that kind of doesn't tell the whole story because a lot of his offense at Oregon revolved around him using screens and passes behind the line of scrimmage. So even though he led the college football in accuracy, a lot of that went to passes that weren't even going to the line of scrimmage. So
I don't know, man. Accuracy is very important if you're a quarterback, especially if you're going into the NFL. If you have the highest rating for accuracy, that's very, very important.
For sure. And the thing is, too, is I'm not even down on Bo Nix. I think he can be good, but
it's too soon.
It's well, I wouldn't even say that because he's had 5 years in college. He's old for a prospect.
He's not old.
We'll just call him Boomer Bo. Okay.
Damn. All right.
Boomer Bo. I think what Peyton is going to do here, Sean Payton, is he's going to try and run kind of a very conservative game plan for him. They're probably going to have short passes, because Sean Payton used to have Alvin Kamara. I could kind of see like a conservative, like check it down to a running back, not really, maybe go deep a couple times a game and that's it type offense. And I think this team is going to be kind of bad. So
really, you think so?
Yeah, I think they're going to be a bottom 5 team in the league this year. I do. Unless Bo Nix is like a guy.
Unless he's Patrick Mahomes. Or just above average. I don't think the Broncos are going to do very well this year. Now, I could be completely wrong. It's just they don't really have a lot of weapons. They have Courtland Sutton at receiver, and Courtland Sutton is a really tall, really athletic wide receiver who can make some ridiculous touchdown catches, as we saw last year with Russell Wilson. Yeah.
But after that,
I don't know anyone on their team other than what you had named already, and their tight end. That's it.
I mean, they have Greg Dulcich. I haven't heard shit about Greg Dulcich. I honestly kind of forgot about Greg Dulcich. They have a couple other people. Like they have Adam Troutman, who he brought over from the Saints. I think they traded for him, but it's like I'm not drafting any of these people.
Where's Jerry Jeudy at?
Jerry Jeudy got traded to the Browns.
Okay.
So, their other receivers are Josh Reynolds, who was on the Lions last year, and Marvin Mims, who was a rookie last year, who they drafted in the second round, and he was like kind of their punt returner last year. So, not
a lot to talk about with the Broncos.
Not a lot. There is a couple things I'll mention. Okay, the only things I'm like kind of interested in here. Courtland Sutton could be a player. Am I going to draft him? Probably not, because he's a good player on a bad team. But I don't know if I'm drafting him where he's at. Nice.
The dog just hacked his lungs out. That's so funny.
So let's talk about. The running back situation is probably the most interesting situation here. Okay. They have Javonte Williams, Jaleel McLaughlin, and Audric Estime.
I'm sorry, who? Audric
Estime.
Estime.
It's a name to remember.
Audric.
He's a rookie, got drafted. He's a big dude that runs slow, but he's like a bowling ball. He's like Derrick Henry if Derrick Henry wasn't good. Okay. So
he's not there.
The thing is though, Audric Estime apparently has been wowing at camp. So could he be the lead back? Sure. Jaleel McLaughlin had a good year last year. Now he's kind of a limited touch, maybe like 10 to 12 touches a game type player who has some explosive speed and stuff like that. I don't really think he's going to be a full-time running back. He's just kind of going to be like a gadgety type of back who does some weird stuff like screens and shit. And then, I mean, Javonte Williams he's coming off a massive injury from 2 years ago, and last year he was pretty bad. So he's a year removed from the massive knee injury. But the thing is, the way they're talking about him, it's just I don't really want him, to be honest. I don't even know if he's the lead back. It's going to be a committee here, with the three of them. And it's like I said, I think the Broncos are going to be a bottom 5 team. So I don't want a running back on a bad team. It's just a bad recipe. So, I mean, out of everyone here, I mean, maybe if you want to take a shot on Courtland Sutton, and that's it. That's literally it. I mean, another name to keep in mind if you see him on waivers and he's potentially going off or having a few good games is Troy Franklin. Now, Troy Franklin is also a rookie, and the thing that makes him interesting here is he was Bo Nix's wide receiver in college.
Oh.
His wide receiver 1. Now, the problem with Troy Franklin is he was supposed to be like a second-round pick in the draft, and he dropped to the 4th round.
Oh, how did that happen?
And generally speaking, if a wide receiver drops that much off consensus, there's something really wrong going on, or the teams aren't very high on them.
The scouts found something.
Well, he had a really bad combine. So you know that drill where they kind of run in a straight line and they catch the ball left and right, the gauntlet?
Yeah.
So he was the worst of the worst at that.
Oh, no.
He couldn't even run in a straight line. He was running like zigzag almost back and forth.
What is it, like trying to avoid bullets?
Damn.
No, it's like, when you play in a video game and you're getting chased and you're getting shot at.
I mean, and he dropped a couple of them. So it was just a really bad combine for him. He's kind of small, and I mean, it's just a name to have in your head in case you see him on waivers and you're like, who the fuck is Troy Franklin? He just scored 15 points this last game because he had a long 70-yard touchdown. It's Bo Nix's wide receiver from college. So
he's gonna have an amazing game, and people are just gonna pick him up off,
waivers,
the free agency. And
I mean, I wouldn't draft him again. It's more of a waiver wire pick. So
yeah, I wouldn't draft him again. Can we move on to the Chargers? Because there's really nothing else to talk about the Broncos.
True.
Chargers.
Yeah.
They got a new head coach, Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, they got Jim Harbaugh. He was Michigan's head coach for the last few years in college, and they just won the national title.
He was also the coach for the 49ers at one point before.
Yeah, with Colin Kaepernick. So he actually, fun fact about him, I believe he has the highest winning percentage out of any NFL coach in NFL history.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, well, that's probably going to go down because he took another job. I mean, what was keeping that afloat was the fact that he was out of the league. So he's the new head coach. And I'll say this about Jim Harbaugh. He's kind of a head coach that you hire to kind of just take over the entire team. Once you bring in Jim Harbaugh, it's no longer the GM's team. It's Jim Harbaugh's team.
Oh, yeah?
He brings in his own staff. He changes the whole culture. He's a culture setter. Okay. And Jim Harbaugh's thing is he loves running the ball. He loves being really big and physical up front on the lines and running the ball down your throat. So that's how it was with the 49ers. That's how it was in Michigan. I mean, they literally won a national title. In the national title game, I think J.J. McCarthy, the quarterback, had like 13 passes total. So, or even less. He's just, it's a super run-heavy approach. Now, with that being said, that would make you say, well, what's the running back situation looking like?
Where's Austin Eckler at?
Yeah, he's gone. The running backs here are super interesting because of everything I just said. They have Gus Edwards and they have J.K. Dobbins, who were the two running backs on the Ravens for the longest time.
Yes.
J.K. Dobbins is coming off multiple ligament injuries. He's coming off an Achilles. He's had a Achilles last year and then ACL and multiple ACLs, and he's just been hurt pretty much every year. And then Gus Edwards had, I forget how many touchdowns he had last year. I think he had like 13 touchdowns last year for the Ravens, just falling in the end zone.
Yeah.
So as of this recording, we don't really know who the quote-unquote starter is. Now, it's leaning towards Gus Edwards, I think. Also, J.K. Dobbins is only guaranteed like $50,000.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Dang.
They basically paid for his flight in his room to come try out for camp.
That is nuts.
So
that doesn't even... That's
he's
crazy.
projected for no money. So what I'm trying to say is like, if J.K. Dobbins is bad in camp, they could literally cut him for nothing.
Oh,
man. So his whole, pathway to RB1 here is very risky. Now, with that being said, when J.K. Dobbins is healthy, I think he's better than Gus Edwards. So if he can show that he's
fully
good to
healthy.
go, if he's good to go, then man, where they're going in drafts, they are literally, I'm not even kidding you, they are the lowest running backs in draft position out of like any other team in the league. And this is on a team with Jim Harbaugh as the head coach, who is a run-heavy dude.
So there are sleeper options.
100%. Now, I don't know which one it's going to be. So we won't find out probably until camp and then, the preseason games. But one of these dudes you can probably draft as your RB4 or 5, and he will literally probably be a starting running back on a Jim Harbaugh team.
I like it. I want him to stay sleeper options.
Well, like I said, if the preseason games start and J.K. Dobbins is out there, as the starting running back, they're going to jump up. He's going to jump up. They probably both will jump up because no one's going to believe in J.K. Dobbins to stay healthy a whole season. I mean, that's just been the story of his career is staying healthy. So they're both great values right now. Now, also, I'll mention their rookie they drafted in the 6th round as the 3rd running back. His name is Kamani Vidal.
Oh, what?
Kamani Vidal. Okay, just to mention, just so you know his name, he's going to be at the end of your draft, maybe not even drafted. Just a name to keep in mind, because remember, we don't know who's going to be the lead back here yet.
Right.
So just keep that in mind. Keep the name Kamani Vidal in mind, okay? Because apparently he's looked good as well.
Kimani.
Yeah. So obviously with a run-heavy approach, that means there's not going to be as much passing. Now, we know Justin Herbert is hurt already, okay? He has this plantar fascia injury, and that's in your foot, and it's expected to be season-long, going to be bothering him. It's going to be a pain tolerance thing. So are we interested in the wide receivers here? Maybe, maybe not. Now, I will say this. With their current prices, I think we should be interested. Their top 2 options are going to be Joshua Palmer and Ladd McConkey.
I just like his name, Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, so the problem is that Ladd McConkey is really good. He's a good separator. He's very twitchy, but he's not a model of health either.
Oh, boy.
He's already been hurt. He's already walked off the practice field twice so far in training camp with injuries.
But I think you need to just work out in your off season, yeah?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, too, I 100% think that if Ladd were to stay healthy for the whole season, he will be the number 1 receiver on this team. And he is going late. So basically what I'm trying to say is everyone on this team is a sleeper. It's just a matter of who you want.
Yeah.
Joshua Palmer is like a 10th or 11th round pick. Like he's going extremely late. So late. And he might be the number 1 receiver for Justin Herbert, who arguably is a top 5 in real life quarterback.
Yeah. That's unfortunate because he's a good quarterback.
Yeah. Palmer already has the rapport with him. He's been there for 2 or 3 years now at this point. So I think honestly, if you can take a shot on McConkey or Palmer, and if one of them just ends up sucking, you can cut them.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, and we already talked about the running backs. Now, this being a Jim Harbaugh offense, I don't think we have to worry about the tight ends here. Their number one tight end right now is Will Dissly.
Will Dissly.
And he's more of a blocking tight end. So I think what's going to happen is they're going to have tight ends on the field that are there just to block.
He's an overpaid lineman.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, that's the Chargers. I mean, their skill positions are...
Don't they have Joey Bosa?
On defense.
Yeah, so, I mean, that should help them with winning, but not necessarily in...
Fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean...
I mean, technically, because that could be good for your, defensive, for your DST.
No, true. Yeah, well... I think their defense is going to get run through. I'm not going to be worried about their defense. I'm not going to be drafting them. But, I mean, that's the Chargers. I have a sneaking suspicion that they might finish second in this conference. Or not conference, in this division.
Yeah. I mean, who else is going to beat them other than, actually, I mean...
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs. And... I don't know. With Jim Harbaugh there, I mean, they could win 8-9 games and get in. They could sneak into the playoffs. I know a lot of people are actually saying that they're a dark horse playoff team.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dude.
So
Jim Harbaugh was a great coach.
Yeah, he's gonna set the tone there, change the culture, and he's gonna run the ball down your throat. Is what he's gonna do. Now again, with who? Is it gonna be Gus Bus? Is it gonna be J.K. Dobbins?
Hey, they might pick somebody up in the, free agency.
I mean, that could happen too, but they don't have a lot of cap space. That's the other issue with them. That's why everyone's so cheap. So, yeah, that's
$50,000 freaking dollars.
$50,000, yeah.
I never thought that was even possible. I thought a minimum.
That's literally just paying for him to be there at camp
I thought a minimum for NFL player is at least $700,000.
Well, it is. That's how much his contract is. But I'm saying the guaranteed money on it is $50,000.
That's crazy.
If he actually makes the team and plays, I mean, he's probably playing for league minimum or vet minimum, which is about $1 million. So it's only $50,000 guaranteed. So look, I've always said good players on good teams or good players on bad teams. I don't think there's really anyone on this team that's good. I mean, we don't know about Ladd yet. I mean, he could be really good. I mean, he was good in college. He just gets hurt. But we do know that Justin Herbert is a very good quarterback. And we know that Jim Harbaugh is a very good coach. So I'm cool with taking a chance on some of these just because they're so cheap.
Yeah, I like it.
So that's the AFC West.
That is the AFC West. Thank you so much for breaking that down for us, dummies.
Yeah, and the quarterbacks, my quarterback tiered rankings for the top 12.
My Jalen Hurts and your number 2.
Yeah.
He's number 1 in my heart.
Yeah, and like I said, we might talk about more of the positions in a couple other videos after this, and then eventually bring it all together and kind of talk about strategy for drafting and all that. So
yeah,
I think that'll be a good thing to do. Maybe we'll have a mock draft at the end of these breakdowns. Just because, you'll actually know everyone in the league.
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah. So, anyway, with that was AFC West.
Thank you so much for listening and sticking around with us.
Yeah, thank you so much if you guys have listened to this point. We really do appreciate it. We are the Fantasy Dummies.
My name is Kay.
And I'm Jeremy.
Thank you so much. Oh, we are the Fantasy Dummies?
I said that too.
What? Oh, yes. Hope to catch you guys later.
Yeah, what she said. We'll see you guys later.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
Sure.